What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Chin here again today from the Nothing But Facts podcast. I hope you guys had a wonderful week 7 of college football. I hope you guys watched all the beautiful games that we had this weekend. We had some beautiful showdowns, and we also had some news that, damn, it might as well just put a dent into everything we did yesterday. Penn State head coach James Franklin, he was fired yesterday after 12 seasons. We're going to break that down. We're going to break down the Bama game, break down the Indiana game, break down the Georgia game, break down the USC game, all in this episode, our recap, our quick week 7 recap. Let's jump right in. As some of you may not know, Penn State. Hello? Perfect. James Franklin was fired yesterday as the head coach of Penn State. Uh, they they were spiraling in the wrong direction. They were not in the predicament or in the position that a lot of the country thought they were going to be in. This team was ranked number 3 in the country 3 weeks ago. Okay. They were in the playoffs 3 weeks ago. People were talking about this team potentially going on to win the Big Ten, going on to have a deep playoff run after what they did last year. And that just wasn't the case. The Oregon loss was the catalyst in this demise. And then following the Oregon loss was the UCLA loss, excuse me. And of course, 2 days ago was the nail in the coffin, losing to Northwestern at home. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come for him and say, he didn't do what he had to do, X, Y, Z, etc. I understand all of those things. However, my thing is, should you have waited for the season to be over before you pull the plug? Or was the situation so dire? Was what was going on behind the scenes so dark that Penn State said, no, let's pull the plug now? I think there's a lot of different ways you can go if you wanted to talk about who's at fault, blah, blah, blah. There's so many different ways you can go. And of course, I know we're going to sit there and look at James Franklin record, 4-21 against top 10 opponents. Like, I get it, including 1-18 against top 10 Big Ten teams in conference play. Like yes, that is a problem. Like, that is a problem. That right there was the problem. You had 19 opportunities to go against top 10 teams in the Big Ten, top 10 ranked teams from the Big Ten, and you were only able to go 1-18. And now I don't want people to have short-term memory, because this man came in and saved this program when this program was down and out. He was at Vanderbilt, turned Vanderbilt into a success story, and came to Penn State when things weren't so green, when things weren't so good. However, results matter on the field, right? Results matter on the fields. At a school like Penn State, you can't go 4-21 against top 10 opponents. Like that. That's just unacceptable. That's just unacceptable. I want to go into the Drew Aller dilemma. He's out for the season. If you don't know, Drew Aller, their quarterback, he's out for the season, suffered a left broken leg, looked like a lower leg injury. And I feel bad for him. I don't necessarily like his quarterback play. I don't think he's the best quarterback out there in the country. However, I hate seeing guys get hurt, and they don't play another down for their university. Like, that sucks. That sucks if you're Drew Aller. That sucks if you're in that Penn State locker room and you saw your brother go down like that. However, the results matter, right? I think there are 2 spots I think James Franklin did it to himself here. I think there are 2 spots. I think the first one was firing Mike Yurcich. Mike Yurcich, if you didn't know, Mike Yurcich was the former Penn State offensive coordinator. He essentially was the reason into why Drew Aller came to Penn State. He was a big part of the recruitment of Drew Aller. And into year 2 of that marriage, James Franklin fired Mike Yurcich. He fired him. And I get it. Results matter. Yes. But then you teamed Drew Aller up with Andy Koelnicki, who I don't think was the right choice. who I don't think was, in terms of personnel, in terms of the type of fit that what Drew Aller is, I don't know if he was the right guy for the job. I don't know if that was the right guy for the position you were in. And then you hired Jim Knowles. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can talk about this, but I think James Franklin, if he would redo this differently, I'm sure he would. But as of right now, James Franklin, fired for Penn State. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about that Alabama game. Alabama versus Missouri on the road. Great game. The SEC, Alabama continuously just doing what they do on the road, finding ways to win. It was a really good game. I think I was really impressed by this team. Ty Simpson continues to impress me. And this game, in my opinion, was pivotal into where we looked at Bama, where we see Bama and where they've come. Let me say that. Where we see Bama and where they've come. Because this was a perfect opportunity spot for Bama to lay an egg. This was a perfect opportunity for them to just come in and lay an egg, right? We heard all the talk going into the week about Ahmad Hardy leading the country, leading the SEC in rushing yards. We heard all those things. But this was an opportunity where, when we think about how Alabama's 16, 17, last 17 games have been and how they've approached the road, it hasn't been the best, right? It hasn't been the best. So I thought this was a perfect letdown spot for Alabama, right? Jam Miller gets hurt in that third, fourth quarter. He gets knocked out with concussion. Derek Meadows gets knocked out with the concussion, and this team is just fighting. Right? I got to give a big shout out to Latsier Brooks, my guy from Millville, New Jersey. They don't even have his picture here, but this dude is the X factor in that Bama wide receiver room. I know people are going to talk about Ryan Williams and Isaiah Horton and Jeremy Bernard, and he has not scored. But what Latsier Brooks does for Alabama on the football field, the numbers don't do it justice. Okay, he had a pivotal fourth down catch to extend this game, to push this game out of reach. I'll say that. I really like Latsier Brooks. Big fan. He's from Millville, New Jersey, my home state, and it's just so great to see him. Nikhil Hill-Green also had a great game. He's definitely coming along in that linebacking room. I think it's been Justin Jefferson. It's been Nikhil Hill-Green. And I think Deontay Lawson is still getting his win back, right? He's still coming back from that injury. I still think Deontay Lawson, by the end of the season, I think he's going to be in good position. But this was a really impressive win by Alabama. The time of possession to me for the last 2 weeks for Alabama has been very impressive. It's almost 2-1. The time of possession in which Alabama gets on their drives, you see Ty Simpson starting the drive up. This team will control the clock. They will hold on to that ball, and they will go on 3rd and 3. They will convert on 4th and 1. That's what they do. That's who they are. That's who Alabama is right now. 3 for 3 on 4th down, right? Not the best on 3rd down, but they were put in positions where when pivotal 3rd downs needed to be converted, they converted. This Alabama team is rolling. You get another test this week at home. Tennessee is coming to town the 3rd Saturday in October. So it's a great opportunity again for Alabama to get another quality win. I said this last week, right? The question has been for Mizzou, who would you play? You played Kansas, you played South Carolina, you played Central Arkansas, you played UMass, you played Louisiana, whoever. Like, Bama has been and was the best competition you've had thus far. It was. And I had a feeling they were going to lose this game. So shout out to to Ty Simpson. Shout out to Ryan Grubb. Shout out to Jamarcus Shepard. I saw him coaching on that sideline on Saturday. Shout out Ryan, Kalen DeBoer. This Alabama offense again a pivotal win. Oh my God, I spilled the water. Moving on, let's talk about this Indiana-Oregon game. Indiana versus Oregon. Great game. I happened to watch the first half. Insane. Fell asleep in the third quarter. Woke up in the fourth quarter. But right, we can say that Indiana's defense is legit. Indiana's defense is legit. Aiden Fisher, probably one of the better linebackers in the country. Had himself a day. Bryce Betcher, too, on Oregon side, had himself a day. But I think the story of this game is Indiana going into hostile territory and dominating the game. They dominated the game. I know they won by 10, but I felt that they were in complete control of this game. I never felt when watching. I know they had the big play. They allowed the explosive play. I just didn't feel that Indiana was fluttered by that. The turnovers were a big problem for Oregon. Oregon had 2. The time of possession favored Indiana as well, and the first downs favored Indiana as well. Right. We talked about Roman Hemby last week. We talked about him being a primetime player. He didn't score. He hasn't scored. That was his first. On Saturday, those are his first 2 touchdowns of the season. Roman Hemby. So this Indiana team, right? Kurt Cinetti, what he's done in the last 2 seasons has been mind-boggling. It's been mind-boggling. What he's been able to do at Indiana has been mind-boggling. Get a quarterback, you build your offensive line, you go and get a top 10 win against Oregon, a top 5 win. They were 1 in jabillion against top 10 teams on the road. He got them the win. So impressive stuff. This is a great game. I felt as if, though, that Oregon, the question for me going to this game was how much did Oregon have emotionally? How much did they have emotionally, right? They had a big game on the road against Penn State. That was a supercharged emotional atmosphere. And then, like, what was next, right? You had to get up again for Indiana. Like, this wasn't easy, right? Playing back top 10 teams back-to-back weeks, like, that's not easy. Right? Like, that's not easy. Right? Playing on the road against Penn State, then you have the bye week, then you got to mentally prepare yourself against Indiana. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I really like Indiana. I think Fernando Mendoza is the real deal. I think this dude was the real deal last year at Cal. He was just playing behind the worst offensive line in the Power 5. He was playing behind the worst offensive line in the Power 5. You give him an offensive line, look what he looks like. Big win for Indiana. I can't stress this enough. Big win for Indiana. Kurt Cinetti certainly building a powerhouse at Indiana. And I don't think the season's over for Oregon. Big things on the horizon. You get Michigan. Oh, no Michigan this year. On the road against my alma mater, Rutgers. And the only game that you should really be looking at is that USC game, and even that Washington game too, right? That USC and Washington game is pretty interesting to me because USC, Wayman Jordan's going to be out a couple of weeks, and they just lost their starting running back. So we'll see what happens, but great win for the Indiana Hoosiers, moving on to 6-0. They're ranked number 3, I believe, in the country. I want to talk about this Georgia game really quickly. I was very disappointed. I'm just going to get straight to it. Extremely disappointed in the officiating. I know that Hugh Freeze is coaching for his job. It has been 8 wins, 7 wins, bowl. Like, he just needs to make it to a bowl game, and the referees are not helping him. It's unfortunate. He's coaching for his job. You see it. The players are playing hard. And I felt so bad for him after watching what the referees did to him at home against Georgia. Right? There were so many calls in this game. There were so many plays in this game that I said to myself, this is terrible. Was it the fake timeout from Kirby Smart? Was it the touchdown on the goal line by Jackson Arnold? Was it the route looking for a catch for a complete and coming back and saying it's targeting? Like, there were so many things in this game that I'm just like, from an officiating standpoint, I am not pleased. I'm not pleased. And I'm not impressed by Gunnar Stockton. I'm not. I don't see it. I don't see it. I see the toughness. I see the resiliency, but I just don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that. What I see in Ty Simpson, what I see in Dante Moore, what I see in Fernando Mendoza, I don't see that in Gunnar Stockton. Nah, I don't know. Not feeling it. Impressive win on the road. I mean, Auburn was given their best shot at Georgia. And that's one thing I have to give to Kirby Smart teams. You better throw your hardest knockout punch. Like, I need you to understand what I'm saying. If you're playing Kirby Smart at home, okay, you need to throw your hardest shot after shot after shot after shot. Because one thing about Auburn is, one thing about Georgia is they are not going to give up. They are going to play 4 full quarters of Georgia football. That's what they do. That's what they do. And you got to give credit to Kirby Smart for getting his guys to play in that manner. But I really like how they do that, their resiliency, but I'm still not impressed by Gunnar Stockton. Georgia has a test on Saturday. Ole Miss coming to town. Then you get Florida. Then you get Mississippi State. Then you get Texas. Then you get Georgia Tech. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But I think an impressive win for Georgia on the road. What I say, I'm still bought into Gunnar Stockton. Not really. I saw some flashes in that receiver room with Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch. I saw some flashes. Definitely see some flashes. But Ole Miss, definitely a different test. We'll see what happens. In our last game, we had an absolute drudge fest in the Coliseum. The USC Trojans going on to beat Michigan, finally getting their premier, like their signature Big Ten win, right? Like USC really hasn't had a signature premier Big Ten win. This happens to be that. This feels like this is their signature win. Jada Mayava playing well. King Miller came in and just had an outstanding game when Wayman Jordan was hurt. Mekhi Lemon continues to be a big play receiver. I think he's one of the best receivers in the country. And this USC team, I know they play Notre Dame on the road on Saturday, but they need to find a way to run the ball. I know you're out. You don't have Wayman Jordan. I know you don't have your other running back, but you need to find a way to run the ball, because if you think you're just going to go into Notre Dame Stadium and just throw the ball over the field, you're not going to be successful. But this was an impressive win by USC. It showed that they can play tangible defense. Eric Gentry happens to be a problem, right? What he's able to do at that outside linebacker position at 6'6", 210 pounds, whatever he's 6'7", 210 pounds. He's a game changer. He's a game changer. And, Lincoln Riley's building something. I truly think he is. He's building something. He's building something at USC. And I think it's going to be here quicker than we know it. They're 5-1. They're playing really good football. I don't know if it's this year, but I am a lot more confident in USC right now than I was 116 days ago, 120 days ago. I'm a lot more confident and optimistic into where USC is going right now than I was 200 days ago. And it's because they're winning football games. The results on the field matter. Their quarterback is playing well. This offensive line is playing well. This defense is playing well. I think Lincoln Riley finally is getting that swagger back, and it's showing dividends. We'll see what happens. Big test against Notre Dame this week. We'll break it down. We'll see what happens. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing. Love you guys. God bless.